Hey there, you know that feeling, right? You're staring at a blank page, the cursor is blinking, and you've got this big essay due. It can be super intimidating. Well, this explainer is all about turning that dread into a clear, confident strategy. We're going to break it all down. Let's get into it.
So, I want to start with a question for you. What is that one sentence? The single sentence that acts as the backbone for your entire paper. Get it right, and you're golden. Get it wrong, and, well, the whole thing can fall apart. We're going to find out exactly what it is and how to nail it.
All right, first up, the academic writing challenge. Let's just be real for a second. That blank page can feel like a huge obstacle. But here's the secret. Academic writing isn't about using the biggest words you can find to sound smart. Nope, it's actually a logical process, a skill that absolutely anyone can learn.
So, what even is academic writing? At its core, it's just a method. It's a way to take an idea, break it down, and then prove it. You're essentially showing your reader not just what you think, but more importantly, why you think it, by backing it all up with solid evidence. It's all about the why.
I want you to think about it like you're building a house. You wouldn't just start throwing up walls on soft ground, would you? Of course not. You need a solid foundation first. A great essay is built the exact same way. It all starts by constructing a rock-solid argument. So, let's put on our hard hats because we're about to pour that foundation. We're going to walk through, step by step, how you can take a simple, everyday opinion and transform it into a powerful academic argument that can hold up an entire paper.
You start with something basic, an opinion. I think prisons should be for rehabilitation. Okay, it's a fine start, but it's not an argument yet. The magic really happens when you add one simple but powerful word, because. The moment you add because, you've forced yourself to give a reason, and bam, your opinion now has direction.
Okay, next layer, the example. This is so important. It takes your argument from being just an abstract idea and makes it real. You give a specific scenario, something your reader can actually picture. It makes your point so much easier to connect with and understand.
And here it is, the final, most critical piece of your foundation, the evidence. This is what turns your personal opinion into a legitimate, convincing academic argument. We're talking statistics, studies, quotes from experts. This is the concrete that makes your foundation absolutely unshakable.
All right, the foundation is set. It's solid. Now we need the blueprint for the rest of the house. And that's your thesis statement. Remember that make or break sentence from the beginning? This is it. It tells your reader exactly what you're going to build and how you're going to do it.
Now, making a great blueprint is a pretty straightforward four-step process. You just start with a simple question, then you write down your first gut answer. Next, sound familiar? You develop that answer by adding a because. And finally, you polish it up, refining it into a clear, concise roadmap of the key points you're about to explore in your paper. And just look at the difference a strong thesis makes. A weak one just announces your topic. It's like a sign on an empty lot that just says, house coming soon. But a strong thesis, it's arguable. It makes a bold, specific claim. It doesn't just say a house is coming. It shows you the detailed blueprint and argues why this design is the best one.
Okay, so to make sure our blueprint is rock solid, let's do a quick lightning round of the most common mistakes, the traps that people fall into all the time. Think of this as your pre-construction checklist to avoid any big structural problems down the line.
It's amazing how easy it is to make these mistakes. Just announcing your subject, that's not an argument. Making a totally unreasonable claim, you can't prove it. Stating an obvious fact, well, duh, there's nothing to argue. Or being way too broad, you'll never cover it. Each of these will sink your paper before it even starts.
So we have our foundation, we have our blueprint. The core structure is sound. Now it's time for the finishing touches. This is the polish, the style, the stuff that makes your work not just solid, but professional and really, really convincing.
First up, tone. This might seem a little counterintuitive, but taking yourself out of the writing actually makes your argument stronger. When you drop phrases like I feel or I believe, you shift the focus away from your personal opinion and onto the evidence itself. The argument has to stand on its own 2 feet, and that makes it way more powerful.
Next, let's talk vocabulary. Now, this is not about finding the most complicated word in the thesaurus. It's about being precise. Got more dependent is fine for a conversation, but a phrase like grew increasingly symbiotic is just more formal and honestly more accurate. It adds a level of authority.
And conciseness.
This is a game changer. Strong writing is direct and to the point. Why use 8 words when 5 will do the job better? Trimming out those extra little filler words like there are makes your writing so much tighter, clearer, and more impactful.
And here's one last super easy tip for you. Just don't use contractions. That's it. Write does not instead of doesn't. It is instead of it's. It is such a small change, but it instantly boosts the formality of your writing. It's an easy win.
So there you have it. That's your academic writing toolkit. You start by building a strong foundation, turning an opinion into an argument with reasons, examples, and evidence. Then you create a clear blueprint with a sharp, arguable thesis. And finally, you add that professional polish with the right style.
You know, when you boil it all down, academic writing is really just clear thinking made visible. And that skill, it goes so far beyond the classroom. Being able to build a logical, evidence-based case and communicate it clearly is invaluable. So the real question isn't if you'll use this skill again, but where won't you use it?